This video is a follow-up to my top 10 best G1 Transformers, but in the end I was unable to come up with a list of the top 10 worst. In truth, I like the majority of modern Transformers I've bought, and was only able to come up with a list of 5 that I feel could really be genuinely a lot better. These are the figures that come to mind quickly, which indicates to me my thoughts on them are fixed and honest. So with that preamble out of the way, let's begin. Number 5, Ironhide. This Studio Series version of the character is generally pretty good. A bit chunky maybe, but it's better than that lanky, somewhat distorted Masterpiece version. It's the transformation that really spoils my enjoyment of this figure. His van mode just doesn't seem to want to go together properly, requiring significant force, and the seams never really line up once they're in place. The brittle, translucent plastic is present, making the whole thing a nerve-wracking ordeal. Is something going to shatter? And isn't he meant to have a yellow stripe down the side of the van? They remedied many of these things for the battle-damaged re-release, but I'm not falling for it this time, Hasbro. Number 4, Frenzy and Rumble. I put these two together. There's a lot of things I like about these modern cassettes, but I really think Hasbro needed to spend more time on that core design. You're telling me you can't give them elbow joints? Would that really be more expensive than plastic pile drivers that peg into the arms? And I don't know why, but the lack of vac metallization with modern figures really hits home for me with these two figures. I think because the original G1 cassettes were so small, it was something that really made them pop, and this kind of lame off-white plastic just pales by comparison. I love the size, I really like the accuracy, but the articulation is lacking. They just don't look natural with those rigid arms.
We are going to create a tidal wave under the sea.
Number 3, Blur. When I think of this Blur, I think of dirt, discoloration and flappy bits. Right out of the box, he always had this grime all over the place in the grooves. I have no idea what it is. And the plastic started to discolor quite noticeably in places within a month of having him out of the box, I think. He might have been discoloring in the box. I really dislike, as I say, these flappy cuffs on his arms, and his joints are just generally pretty floppy. I feel like a much better job could have been done making him cartoon accurate with this chest piece. Translucent, they did it with Cup, and they updated Blaster recently so that they have more cartoony chest pieces. I'm in no rush to buy another version of this Blur if I can ever get it clean, but if one were offered, I'd probably have to buy it because this one is substandard. More fool me.
We've got Decepticons at the gates, Decepticons in the air, Decepticons inside the walls, Decepticons. If we beat them off the walls, then they're still in the air. If we shoot them out of the air, then they're still at the gates. So where does that leave us? Nowhere, that's where.
Number 2, Coronation Starscream. A big bit of purple plastic, a crown, a cape, and some shoulder pads. That's really the only difference between this leader class Coronation Starscream and his Earthrise counterpart. More recently, I've appreciated Hasbro's attempt to make re-releases tie into the original 80s cartoon better, but no attempt was made here to remove all that over-the-top robotic texturing. If they had done that, this would have been a great G1 Starscream. The throne is nice, but it really is, as I say, just a big bit of plastic and not worth the asking price for what is a leader class release. Such a missed opportunity. I'm crossing my fingers they'll make another attempt at the Seekers in general for Studio Series or Legacy United and get it right this time. Number 1, Scourge, or the Sweeps. I really want to like this design, this mold, because overall the look of it is great, but the articulation really lets it down. His legs in particular have very little range of motion, popping out at the hip sockets if you try to get him into anything like a dynamic pose. He technically has an ankle pivot in that you can move his feet a couple of centimeters, if that, to be honest, at which point they immediately try to snap back in of their own accord. One of his hands is locked in this Dracula-esque claw pose. This is dramatic in theory, except he's doing it all the time. These sorts of characterful details are great when you have some say in the matter, basically articulated fingers. Since no Transformer goes around looking like he's perpetually ready to scratch his arse. Of all my figures, Scourge and the Sweeps are the ones that immediately topple over, should I even graze my display cabinets. So those are my picks for my worst modern Transformers so far. Do you agree with me? Am I being overly harsh? Do you really like some of these figures? Please let me know either way in the comments. I've been Nap Yet, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.